Hi, this is Vivian Watts, and thank you for stopping by. I'm here to show you how to make these cute little mailbox cards. They are not just three-dimensional, they can also be flattened, so you can actually put them into an envelope and mail them. Are you ready? Let's get started. First of all, you're going to need an arch die. You can probably find this die in your stash. And also, if you can find two small rectangle dies that's suitable in size, you might be able to use them as well. So we're going to cut two pieces using the arch die. One piece will be used for the front and one will be for the back. Now to make these pieces look like a mailbox, we're going to need to cut legs into them for the front and as well as the back. Now I was able to find a small rectangle die that's good in size, so I'm going to use this one for my project. However, if you cannot find a die that's suitable, no worries, because this is a fairly simple shape. You can just use pencils and a ruler to draw the shape in and use a pair of scissors to cut it out. So there's really not an issue at all. So in my sample today, I am using this die that I could find to cut the legs. And make sure to cut both pieces, the front and the back. So you can tell already now it's starting to look like a mailbox. So once we have the front and the back pieces cut, we're going to cut the front piece with the mail slot. Okay? So we only need to work with one piece at this point. I was able to find another small die that I could use. Again, if you cannot find a small rectangle die that's suitable in size, this is a very simple shape. You can just draw in the shape and then cut with a pair of scissors. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my small rectangle die and cut my the slot into my front piece. You only need to do this once. Okay, so now let's take a look at what we have so far. We have the front and the back. And comparing that to our finished project, you can get an idea of how we're going to assemble these later. Okay, now that we have the front and the back, we're going to work with the box. So we need two sides. To cut the sides, you're going to need to cut it twice, two pieces, two identical pieces. The length of the piece will be the length of the straight edge of your front or the back piece. Okay, so we're going to cut away the shaded area. That's what we don't need. That is going to be the length of the piece. For the width, I like to use half the size of the width of our front or the back piece. And then I'm going to add half an inch for seam allowance, because later we're going to need room to apply glue. You can actually make this as wide as you want or as narrow as you want. But a good rule of thumb is to use half the width of the front. And don't forget to add half an inch for seam allowance. And you're going to need to cut two pieces. And then the next thing we're going to do is to score at 1/4 inch from both sides. Remember, we had seam allowance for half an inch. So for each side, add 1/4 inch. Then the remaining is the width, the actual width of your sides. All right, so we score that and we're going to fold it and give it a good press. These two sides will be the areas where we're going to apply glue later. All right, first piece down, and we'll work on the second one. Now we have both sides. So we're taking a look, checking our pieces together to see if they are the right size, and it looks good. Now we also need to cut legs into the sides, so they will actually look like a mailbox. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your front piece as a template. Make sure you fold in both sides when you work on this, okay? The both scored ends should be folded. And then you're going to mark the legs like so. So you mark the leg and the bottom of the edge. And then you move to the other end and do the same thing. So you will have a rectangle at the bottom. And this is the areas that you're going to be cutting away. So you will cut this out to form the shape of the legs. And then once you cut the first piece, you can use this as a template to cut the second piece. Okay, once later, when we put them together, this is how they will look like. I am using two different colors of paper so it will be easier to demonstrate. But when you are working on the project, the actual project, you will be using the same color paper because your mailbox usually is one color. The front and the side and the back should be the same color. Okay, so now we have the front, the back, and the two sides. Okay, so far so good. Okay, the next thing we want to work on is the inside tabs. These are the areas, the tabs that you can add your embellishment for your finished project. So again, we're going to use either our front piece or our side piece or our back piece as our template. The width of the tab should be the same width of the front or the back plus ½ inch for seam allowance because we need the area so we can apply glue later. So you're going to cut two pieces. And in terms of the length, you can make it as long or as short as you like. I like to use 1½ inches. Okay, now we're going to score ¼ inch from both ends. And remember these, once we fold these ends in, these will be the areas that we will be applying glue to adhere to our frame. Okay, so we have two tabs ready to go. All right, so let's take a inventory of what we have so far. We have the front, the back, the two sides, and we also have two tabs which we will put inside our box later. Okay, now we're ready to assemble. So I'm going to take one piece, either the front or the back, doesn't matter, and one side, and apply glue to that the edge that we from the end of the edge to the score line. And you should have already pressed it and give it a good so it can be folded easily. And I like to fold it in like this to check and make sure my edges are met evenly. All right, simple enough. And you have the front and the side. Now we're going to adhere the back side. So again, you can use actually any adhesive of your choice. I like to use liquid glue because it gives me some flexibility. I can still move it around and adjust it a little bit. Okay, so I'm folding in to check if my the ends are met correctly. So far, so good. So as you can see, you have the front and the back and one side already. So the next piece we're going to assemble will be the other side. It's a very similar process. You will apply the adhesive of your choice and attach these two pieces together like so. If you're using liquid glue, it's going to take a few seconds to set. So just be patient and just have fun with the process. All right, looks like it's taking shape already. So eventually we are going to be gluing that side to form the box. And take a look at the finished product, you will see the box. However, before we glue that side to the back piece, we are going to put the tabs in. We're going to attach the two tabs that we created earlier. So it's really up to you where you want your tabs to go. I like to just kind of put them in the, kind of have even spaces. So using a pencil, I'm just marking them, and you can do however distant you like. In this example, I'm just making it quite even, but I'm just eyeballing that. I'm not doing any measurement. And then on the tabs on the side, I'm applying glue and attach my tab to the side piece. Okay, one tab done, and we'll work on the second one. This is the reason I like to use liquid glue, because you see how I can still make adjustment. I give myself, an extra 2 seconds to do that. The only disadvantage is that it does take a few more seconds to dry. But to me, I think I rather have more flexibility, and I don't mind waiting a few more seconds. Now I'm marking the area you're going to put glue on. So I'm trying to use the pencil to shade the area. And this is how you will be attaching the tab to the other side. But don't worry, I am going to show you a simple process to do that. A very easy way to do that. So go ahead and lay everything flat. And then I'm shading this another area you'll be applying glue. So these 3 areas will be the areas you will apply your adhesive. And later, all you need to do is to fold your card in half, and everything will go to the right location they're supposed to go. So now I'm applying glue to the areas that I shaded earlier. Okay, now all I need to do is to fold my card in half to attach. And I will check this, the side to make sure everything is even, making adjustment as needed. And because I'm using liquid glue, I'm going to allow a few more seconds to dry. And meanwhile, I'm going to put either something heavy or I have a magnetic glass board, so I'm using magnet to add weight to allow time for the glue to dry. So once the glue dries, you are pretty much done with the skeleton of your card. Pretty easy, right? And I'm trying both sides to make sure I can flatten it. So later, after I embellish the card, I will be able to put this card in an envelope and mail that. Okay, so here is a look at this finished project. The only thing left for you to do is to add whatever embellishment you like. You can make it a regular happy mail with flowers like the ones I have, or you can make a Valentine thing or a friendship thing mailbox. And a lot of us have a different shape of postal stands or dies, so this will be a good project using those products you already have. So if you want to add a cover to your slot, here is an option to do so. I'm just using a piece of paper. I'm not measuring, I'm just making sure that I cut a piece that's big enough to cover the slot. But make sure you allow some room at the top because you need to make a hinge so you can apply glue. So once I cut the piece and I know I have room to apply glue, I'm going to score that and fold it, give it a good press, and then apply glue on this end and attach to my front to form a cover. So again, I'm using a different color paper so you can see better for demonstration purpose. But if you are making a project, you probably use the same color. Even though it may be fun if you make a colorful mailbox. You know, there are no rules in crafting. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look and compare with our finished sample. So this one has a cover, and the one I show you, the red one I showed you earlier, just have a simple slot. Either way is fine. Here we go. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I really hope you give it a try. This is a very simple project, and I'm sure your recipient will be so happy to receive a happy mail card in their mail. All right. Now it's your turn. Bye.